Arsenal make phone call to sign Borussia Dortmund star for Mikel Arteta. Arsenal have made contact over a move for Borussia Dortmund's Romeo Ritter, according to Sky Germany reporter Florian Plettenberg. The Gunners are enjoying a great season and find themselves top of the Champions League phase and top of the Premier League with a 6-point lead over second-place Man City. While Mikel Arteta is under pressure to win major silverware this season, a huge part of Arsenal's success has been their ability to sign talented young players with the future in mind. With the hope of leading the way for many years to come, Arteta will be keen to get this deal over the line. Arsenal make contact over Romeo Ritter. Arsenal's search for future stars has led them to the door of Romeo Ritter. As per Florian Plettenberg, the Gunners have made telephone enquiries over the Borussia Dortmund starlet's availability. AC Milan are also interested in signing him. The 17-year-old is a left-sided central defender who currently plays for Dortmund's under-19s team. However, despite being yet to make his senior debut, he's already attracting major interest. Taking to X, Plettenberg wrote, AC Milan and Arsenal have made phone enquiries about Romeo Ritter and are monitoring his situation. The 17-year-old talented left-footed center-back is dreaming of making his breakthrough at Borussia Dortmund. He is under contract until 2027. However, it is still unclear whether he will extend his deal or not. Ritter is under contract with the German Giants until the summer of 2028, with the defender having dreams of breaking into the first-team fold. Arsenal's future is bright. While it remains to be seen if Ritter will eventually join Arsenal, it's clear that the focus for the club has to be on the here and now. Arteta's side have a massive opportunity to prove themselves as a team who can win the biggest trophies in the game, but after several seasons of falling short, they must prove their doubters wrong. It's a huge few months ahead for the Gunners, but they're in a great position to really cement themselves as one of world football's top sides. The main culprit of Arsenal's problems, in spite of what stubborn Mikel Arteta says, who is not doing well enough, writes Ihsan Khan. After a turgid, stodgy, goalless draw, Arsenal walked away with a point against Liverpool. Neither side deserved all three, in fairness. Viktor Gyökeres, though, his lack of presence in front of goal is becoming a greater problem by the week for Mikel Arteta. The game was there for the taking, yet his side couldn't penetrate this Liverpool team to any great effect. Deliveries into the area which should have been utilized whistled past players, particularly in the first half. Gyökeres was the main culprit for this, often found nowhere near a whizzing goal-bound cross. Many of the Gunners' players looked ponderous in trying to progress the ball when in the final third, and that cost them in the second period, the Reds getting on top by the end. Yet the unavoidable main takeaway was the inefficacy of Gyökeres on Thursday night. He had just 8 touches, the fewest the Swede has had in an Arsenal match. In contrast, substitute Gabriel Jesus, who came on in the 64th minute, had 11 touches in 26 minutes. That is not good enough. Arteta, though, still somehow tried to deflect blame away from the striker. He said, "He was in great positions sometimes, and the ball didn't arrive, and as I said, there was a situation where normally we're going to the 6-yard box, and normally that's a goal. You pick somebody and you score a goal, and we didn't do that today. That's the thing today. We have to improve. It wasn't probably at the standards that we are used to." When asked if he thinks the forward is getting better, Arteta replied, yes. It's stubbornness, which can be arguably afforded when your team is 6 points clear at the top of the Premier League. In reality, although this was a chance for further 3 points wasted, a point is no bad result for Arsenal. The 3 consecutive draws in 2026 for Manchester City has opened up a healthy gap at the top of the table. With league games against Nottingham Forest, Manchester United, and Leeds to come for the Gunners, they are on track to widen the crack further. So, to get too wrapped up on this actual result from an Arsenal perspective would be ignorant of the wider outlook. But going back to Gyökeres, the striker is increasingly becoming a problem for Arteta. He has been steadfast in his backing the £64 million man. It's time for him to show just why he was brought to North London. His constant efforts in press conferences to relay that message to fans of making their stadium a fortress hasn't been unnoticed. Whether it's a reminder to them about getting to their seats well before kickoff, he'll repeatedly state the time too, or whipping these supporters up in general, Arteta doesn't relent. He said on Wednesday, "They've been unbelievable again this season, and it makes such a difference. We become a different team. The level of energy, commitment, confidence, desire that we can show in every action is transmitted by them, and we need them tomorrow in every ball." Ahead of kickoff against Liverpool, red and white bags were placed on seats to create a visual effect. The ploy did enhance the atmosphere, raising the decibel levels a notch or two, along with a light show. It is these touches which do make a difference, and Arteta deserves credit for having the fans in mind. The bags on seats were a particularly nice touch because they were also to encourage attendees to donate goods for food banks. After the awful poverty chants heard from some traveling Arsenal fans at Everton last month, this was needed. Fewer touches than Raya and 100% duels lost, Arsenal flop must be dropped. After results earlier in the week, Arsenal had the chance to extend their lead at the top of the Premier League table on Thursday night, but unfortunately failed to take it. Mikel Arteta's side went into the clash with Liverpool as heavy favorites, and for the first 20 minutes or so looked every bit the better team. However, things soon leveled out and then played what has to be their worst 45 minutes of football this season in the second half. There were poor performances across the Arsenal team, but there is one player who was particularly bad and now simply has to be taken out of the team. Arsenal's poor performers. The unfortunate truth is you can take your pick from the starters who massively underwhelmed for Arsenal on Thursday night. For example, despite coming into the game in impressive form, Martin Odegaard failed to have any real impact and was practically anonymous. In his 78 minutes of inaction, he amassed an expected assists figure of just 0.04, played a single key pass, failed to misplace 100% of his crosses, failed to take a shot on target, didn't even attempt to dribble, and lost his only duel. Staying in the middle of the park, it was also a night to forget for Martin Zubimendi. Sure, Zubimendi did play a lovely ball over the Reds' defense at one point in the second half. However, other than that, his most noticeable contribution was getting in the way of a brilliant ball from Jurrien Timber to Bukayo Saka that at the very least would have likely ended in a shot on target. Finally, while it feels a little unfair to have a go at someone forced onto the pitch through an injury, it was a really poor showing from Miles Lewis-Skelly. The Highlander clearly has bags and bags of ability, but just didn't look prepared to be involved in the game, and was given problem after problem by Jeremy Frimpong. Moreover, he completed just 3 passes in 33 minutes of action, which is nowhere near good enough, and more than justifies the 4 out of 10 match rating given to him by the Express's Amos Murphy. Yet there was another Arsenal player who was even worse than the youngster, someone who surely has to now be taken out of the team. The Arsenal star Arteta must drop. Arsenal's dire display against Liverpool came as a surprise to most fans and pundits alike. However, unfortunately, what didn't come as much of a surprise was another really poor showing from Viktor Gyökeres. The Swedish marksman arrived at the Emirates in the summer to much excitement, but has failed to live up to it, and this match was another one that completely passed him by. It's not even like the 17-year-old made all that many mistakes, but that is only because he was totally and utterly anonymous. That might sound overly harsh, but it's not a unique opinion. When the striker was taken off in the second half, Gary Neville described his performance as really poor on commentary and said he offered nothing. Likewise, the Express's Amos Murphy gave the forward a 3 out of 10 match rating and really tore into him, writing that it felt like Arsenal was playing with 10 men for most of the time he was on the pitch. Unsurprisingly, the former Sporting CP star's statistics more than back up such takes. In his 64 minutes of inaction, he amassed an expected goals plus assists figure of 0.02, failed to take a single shot, completed just 6 passes, and lost his only duel. As if all that wasn't bad enough, he also took just 8 touches, which was 20 fewer than David Raya.
Ultimately, he might still find a way to come good for Arsenal, but for the foreseeable future, Arteta surely has to take Gyökeres out of his team.